I'm Bev Adams. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and here's the card. It uses Sharing Sweet Thoughts. You can find it at the very back of the catalog. Every year, Stampin' Up has one stamp set that they sell that supports the Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stampin' Up will donate $3 when you buy the Sharing Sweet Thoughts stamp set. And I am also using the Coordinating Everyday Jars framelits. This card looks complicated, but it really is not. It's a half sheet of cardstock, so it's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2 for a basic card, but it's got an extra score here at 2 3/4, so it gives it this zigzag. I also have a piece of basic black that's 5 1/4 by 4, and a piece of real red that's 5 by 3 3/4. And we're going to have those basic layers cut in half. Then I have a strip of Whisper White. This is 1 by 11, and I've scored it exactly the same way I did here at 5 1/2 and 2 3/4, but I'm going to reverse this piece around. And I also have a piece of Old Olives that's 3 1/4 by 11, also scored exactly the same way. I'm going to start with this Old Olive strip, and I'm going to start with the small end. I'm going to pull up the left side of that small end, and I'm going to leave this kind of torn edge. This is going to be sort of like my grass, and I want to go all the way along. Take little tears, take your time, go slowly. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere that with adhesive of your choice. I'm using the green glue because it gives me a little wiggle room time. And I want to adhere it to that white strip. Then I'm going to stamp my ladybugs along the white and kind of following where the green is. Notice that on this left side, probably about halfway on this long side, I'm going to be covering all the ladybugs up, so I don't need to put any there. I'm using basic black ink. And you want to try and get those legs right on the green if you can. And I've got a little bit of an oopsie there. I want to avoid that. Maybe what I'll do is put a ladybug right there. Maybe I'll put my ladybugs really close together. Actually, I like that. I have a scrap of Whisper White. I'm going to stamp the jar in Old Olive. I'm also going to stamp the branch. And then there's these stamps. I'm not sure exactly what these are. They could be grass, but I'm using them to kind of shade the bottom of my jar. And that's really hard to do from this angle, so I'll turn it on the side. There we go. I wanted to use real red to stamp the lid. This lid has kind of a checkerboard pattern on it. We're going to be cutting these out, so leave some space. And I forgot, I've got another piece of Whisper White that's 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, and one that's 2 3/8 by 3 1/2. And I'm going to stamp Always Here for You in the upper right corner. Love that font. And I want to stamp one more ladybug on this branch. Next, I want to use the watercolor pencils to color in those ladybugs. So I'm going to color in my ladybugs with red. And I can use the blender pen to smooth it out. And this one ladybug is bothering me, and I think I'm going to use just a little scrap of white to pop one up for it. So I'll just have one ladybug here that I will color and cut out and put on top there. So there will be one in front of the other. I'm ready to cut this out now, so I've got my Big Shot platform, my thin die adapter, my cut up plate, and my cardstock, my jar, thinlet, and the lid. You could use the magnetic plate. I'm going to hope they stay put, and put the clear plate on top, and I'll run it through the Big Shot. And those pop right out. And I'm ready to assemble. So I have my basic black. I do want to put all my layers on the large side first. It will be easier to match up those smaller ones with the card closed. So this gets centered on. The green glue gives me a chance to wiggle it around to the exact right place. And my white layer that I almost forgot. Then I want to put this layer, this small piece, I want to put adhesive here. I do recommend one of the stronger adhesives. The green glue is just great, or you can use Fast Fuse or Tear and Tape. That matches the right side. And then on the large side, we only want to go about halfway, because we're only going to be adhering it to this part of the gray, and it should match on that side. While that's drying, I'm going to tie my linen thread. If you have folds, you can just straighten those folds out with your bone folder. I'm going to wrap it around my jar lid a couple of times. Bring in my third hand. Tie my bow. And I just need to adjust my bow to the right size. I like little bows. Trim it. And then I think this should be ready. Perfect. I forgot to color my stem. And so there's Old Olive. And there's one more thing I forgot to do. I also want to make sure and clean my marker off. I didn't do that with the red, and there's a little bit of red. I just want to sponge around the jar. So I've got my Old Olive. You can use our Stampin' Sponges or a sponge dauber, whichever you're more comfortable with. And with the sponge dauber, I almost have to kind of make an effort to go a little farther in. The sponge themselves go farther in on their own. Wouldn't you know it, I totally forgot to put this layer on. So I need to see if I can pry this up. Kind of damaged that, but I will be covering that up, so not a problem. With the card closed, I want to add my black layer on. This is not just a 1/4 inch smaller than this piece because I want to go all the way up to the edge. And I want to match the black with the black and the red. Match the red with the red. And just some plain white. Match the white with the white. And I cut that piece wrong. Where is my brain today? Hopefully this is the right one. So this piece is 2 3/8 by 3 1/2, and it's still too big. 3rd time's the charm. My goodness. This piece is 3 1/2, but it was 2 3/8, not 2 5/8. So there's a little bit of glue here. I still have my adhesive eraser. I don't know why they were dropped, but I understand you can get these in art supply stores. So I'm going to wait till that's all dry and erase that adhesive. And with those layers on, now I can put this back on and cover up that oopsie. And put the jar on with dimensionals, but only on this half of the jar. So I can even put my middle dimensional here on the edge of the cardstock, because I do want to have my jar hanging over somehow. And you'll have to decide how close you want it here. How about there? Those mini dimensionals are perfect for this jar lid. And we want to tip that jar lid onto the jar like so. And there's my card. So you have plenty of room in here to write your message. I'll have the free directions for you at my website, bevadams.com. I'll have links for all the products that you will want for this. And thank you for stopping by, and I'll talk to you soon.